Lila's world shattered the day her dad brought home Claire. She wasn't just a new wife, she was a dictator in designer heels, strutting into their lives with a smile that didn't reach her eyes. At 16, Lila had already lost her mom to cancer 3 years ago, and now her home felt like a battlefield. Claire's first act as stepmother wasn't a warm hug or a family dinner. It was a rule delivered with the precision of a drill sergeant. Every day you will make your stepsister Maddie's bed, Lila. No exceptions. Lila's jaw dropped. Make Maddie's bed? Maddie, Claire's 10-year-old daughter from her previous marriage, was a whirlwind of giggles and chaos, leaving a trail of toys and crumbs wherever she went. Lila had her own grief, her own life school, friends, the lingering ache of her mom's absence. And now this. The demand felt like a slap, a power play cloaked in household chores. Claire's voice was calm, but her eyes dared Lila to disobey. Maddie, oblivious, bounced on the couch, clutching a stuffed unicorn, while Lila's dad, Tom, just nodded like a man too tired to argue. The house on Maple Street used to be Lila's sanctuary. Her mom's laughter once echoed through its walls. Her paintings still hung in the living room, vibrant with color. Now Claire's minimalist decor was creeping in: white furniture, sterile and cold, erasing every trace of the past. Lila's bedroom, once a haven of posters and fairy lights, now felt like the last holdout in a war she didn't sign up for. That night, Lila stared at her ceiling, the rule burning in her mind. Make Maddie's bed. Why? Was it about control? Or was Claire testing her, seeing how far she could push? By morning, Lila made her choice. She wouldn't do it. Not today, not ever. She stormed past Maddie's messy room, blankets in a heap, and headed to school, her heart pounding with defiance. Claire's eyes followed her out the door, narrow and calculating. When Lila returned, Claire was waiting in the kitchen, arms crossed. "You didn't make Maddie's bed," she said, voice low. Lila shrugged, her pulse racing. "It's not my job." The air crackled. Tom, caught in the middle, mumbled something about teamwork, but Lila wasn't listening. This was her line in the sand. Maddie, though, was the wild card. She wasn't cruel, just a kid caught in her mom's orbit. She'd follow Lila around, chattering about school or her favorite cartoons, unaware of the tension. Lila didn't hate Maddie, she couldn't. The kid was innocent, her big brown eyes wide with trust. But every time Lila saw Maddie's unmade bed, it wasn't just a mess. It was Claire's voice, her smug authority, her invasion. So Lila fought back in her own way. She didn't just refuse the rule, she turned it into a game. One morning, Lila slipped into Maddie's room while Claire was at yoga. Instead of making the bed, she rearranged Maddie's stuffed animals into a chaotic scene. Unicorns upside down, bears in a pile, a giraffe perched on the pillow like it was staging a protest. Maddie burst out laughing when she saw it, clapping her hands. "It's a zoo party," she squealed. Lila grinned, but her heart wasn't in it. This wasn't about Maddie, it was about Claire. The next day, Lila left a note on Maddie's bed. Rule 1. Make your own bed, kid. Maddie showed it to Claire, who crumpled it without a word, her face a mask of fury. The war escalated. Claire doubled down, adding more rules. Lila had to do Maddie's laundry, fold her clothes, even pack her lunch. Each demand was a brick in the wall between them. Lila's dad tried to mediate, but he was spineless, too smitten with Claire to see how she was tearing their family apart. Lila's friends noticed her mood, dark, distracted. "Just do the stupid chores," her best friend Sarah said. "It's not worth the fight." But it wasn't about chores. It was about dignity, about not letting Claire erase her mother's memory or turn Lila into a servant in her own home. Lila's rebellion grew bolder. She'd accidentally mix Maddie's clothes with red socks, turning her white shirts pink. She'd pack Maddie's lunch with bizarre combos: peanut butter and pickles, a single carrot stick. Maddie thought it was hilarious, but Claire's patience was fraying. One night Claire snapped. "You're disrespecting me in my own house," she hissed, her face inches from Lila's. "Your house." Lila shot back. "This was my mom's house first." The words hung heavy, a truth neither could ignore. Tom stepped in, his voice shaky. "Enough, both of you." But it wasn't enough. It was never enough. Maddie, caught in the crossfire, started to change. Her giggles faded. She'd linger in doorways, watching Lila and Claire with wary eyes. One day, Lila found Maddie crying in her room, clutching her unicorn. "Why don't you like me?" Maddie asked, her voice small. Lila's heart cracked. She knelt beside her. I do like you, Maddie. It's not about you. She explained as gently as she could that the rules weren't fair, that Claire was asking too much. Maddie nodded, but her eyes were still wet. For the first time, Lila saw the cost of her rebellion, not just to her, but to this kid who didn't deserve any of this. That night, Lila couldn't sleep. She thought of her mom, how she'd always taught her to stand up for herself but also to be kind. Was she being kind? Or was she just angry, lashing out at a kid to spite Claire? The next morning, Lila did something unexpected. She made Maddie's bed. Not perfectly, her mom would have laughed at the crooked blanket, but she did it. When Maddie saw it, she beamed. You did it, she said, hugging Lila. Claire, watching from the hallway, said nothing, but her eyes softened just for a moment. The truce was fragile. Claire eased up on the rules, but the tension lingered. Lila started talking to her dad, really talking, about how Claire's demands made her feel erased. Tom listened, his face heavy with guilt. I just wanted us to be a family again, he said. Lila nodded, but she knew it wasn't that simple. Family wasn't built on rules or control, it was built on trust, and they were a long way from that. Weeks passed. Lila and Maddie grew closer, bonding over silly things like bad TV shows and sneaking extra cookies. Claire, though, remained a puzzle. One evening, Lila found her in the living room, staring at one of her mom's paintings. She was talented, Claire said quietly. It was the first time she'd acknowledged Lila's mom without a trace of disdain. Lila swallowed hard. Yeah, she was. They didn't say more, but it was a start. The house on Maple Street wasn't whole again, but it was healing. Lila learned to pick her battles, to fight for what mattered without losing sight of kindness. Claire maybe was learning to see Lila not as a threat but as a daughter. Maddie, the bridge between them, kept them grounded with her laughter and her messy room. In the end, Lila realized something profound. Rebellion could make a point, but connection built a home. She still didn't make Maddie's bed every day. Some rules were meant to be broken, but she did it sometimes, for Maddie, not Claire. And that made all the difference. What do you think? Was Lila right to rebel, or should she have followed Claire's rule from the start? How do you balance standing up for yourself with keeping peace in a family? Share your thoughts. There's no right answer, just the messy truth of human connection.